Welcome back to your KGFW Rewind, KGFW home of the Bearcats. Well, we're going to take a look at the second half of action as the Bearcats are taking on the Benson Bunnies. This game happening on Thursday of this week. And after we take care of the highlights, we're going to take a look around the league because, as I said, the Bearcats had Friday night off and a lot of important games being played on Friday. Just to give you a little bit of a teaser, Bearcats entered this game ranked number 2 in the wildcard standings for Class A here in Nebraska. They could get up as high as number 1 if they get some help, and they could drop as low as number 5 if they don't get some help, thanks to the weighted point system here in Nebraska. But let's take a look at some of your second half highlights. Of course, the Bearcats are absolutely just starting things off, pounding the Benson Bunnies. They would go into second half with a 49-0 lead with the Bearcats, and they would start with the ball. And it looked like things just were clicking and everything was going right for the Bearcats. Their first play from scrimmage in the second half wouldn't even be an actual play. It'd be a penalty, a false start. That's not something that you want to see from your players coming out of the second half. Your first play is a penalty. The second play from scrimmage, well, it's worse than a penalty for the Bearcats.
Thor Thong now in at running back. 2 receivers left, 2 to the right. Murray wants to throw. That one is going to be intercepted, and taking it down the sidelines is Jaleel Lee. And Lee is going to be tripped up at the Bearcat 12-yard line. So the interception by Jaleel Lee.
That would be Jaleel Lee's 4th interception on the year. He was actually having a pretty decent year for the Benson Bunnies on both sides of the ball. That would give the Bunnies their first possession of the second half on the Kearney High doorstop. They'd start with the ball at the Kearney 13-yard line, and it would just take them 2 plays to get into the end zone.
Nowski in the pistol formation. They send one man in motion to the left side. Hand it off, taking it right up the middle is Block, and Block is going to be into the end zone for the touchdown. The sophomore, Messiah Block, with a 10-yard touchdown run. And now the Bearcats have given up the 7 points that they were averaging giving up each week this season.
That would make it 49-7 in favor of the Bearcats early in the second half. Still a running clock, though, for the Bearcats. They take their next possession, march all the way down the field, and really put the cap on the game with a nice play by number 22. I love this guy's name. Thor Thong, bringing the hammer.
4th and short for the Bearcats. Bearcats obviously going to go for it here. Jeremiah Hageman now in at fullback. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets the carry here. Now it's a pitch to Thong, taking it around the right side, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown. Thor Thong reaches the end zone. For Thor, that is his 2nd touchdown of the year. And the Bearcats now lead. I think they're having some issues with the scoreboard. It's not 22-7. I believe it should be 55-7.
The point after attempt would be good. That would make it 56-7, and that would be the final score of the game. The rest of the game, actually, surprisingly enough, a bunch of turnover on downs for both teams, as both teams trying to desperately run out the clock if you're the Kearney High Bearcats, and the Benson Bunnies pretty much in 4th down territory, just trying to put points on the board and end their season on a high note. So 56-7, your final score for the Kearney High Bearcats. Let's take a quick look at some of the stats from the game. Miko Masner, another huge game for him, just 3 carries, 66 yards, but 2 of those carries finding the end zone, a 38-yard run and a 7-yard run. Matt Studi had a good game himself, 8 carries, 41 yards, 1 touchdown for Studi, a 1-yard touchdown run. Corey Kitt getting some extended play in the game, 10 carries for Kitt, 42 yards on the night, 1 touchdown for Kitt. He had a 5-yard run. Braden Miller, the starting quarterback, getting in on the running action. He had 1 run on the night. It was a 9-yard touchdown run. You got to love that as well. We talked about Thor Thong. He got some extended play tonight as well. 9 carries, 30 yards for Thor. 1 touchdown run for him. In the air, very impressed with the Bearcats as they were bringing in their second stringer to start the game. That was Braden Miller, and he'd had a great game. 6 for 9 in the air, 90 yards, 1 touchdown on the night, a 34-yard strike that went to Isaiah Stallbird. Murray on the night, he do an all right night as well. he would go 4 for 7, no touchdowns. He had 28 yards. He did give up that one interception early in the second half. As far as receivers, a lot of guys touching the ball for the Kearney High Bearcats. Obermiller getting 15 yards in the air. Stallbird had that one reception for 34 yards. That was a touchdown. Matt Studi actually caught a little swing pass. He would get -2 yards on that one. Rodriguez, after the interception, would get one pass that he would be able to get into his hands. He had 5 yards on the night through the air. Limbaugh, 41 yards on 2 receptions. Bispalic and Sostad had receptions as well. Put all those numbers together, the Kearney High Bearcats on the evening, 348 yards from offense, 230 on the ground, 118 in the air. Just an absolute fantastic performance from the Bearcats. They would take it to the Benson Bunnies. They would keep the Bunnies from scoring except for that one play, and they would keep the Bunnies from getting any sort of big chunks of yardage. On the night, Benson, 83 yards on the ground as a team, 29 yards in the air for Omaha Benson. That's 112 yards. Domination in every facet of the form for the Bearcats. That moves on to last night's games. Now, when we talked to Coach Cool before the game, he said the most important game was not the one that his team was playing against the Bunnies. The most important games were going to be Lincoln Platte as they were at Omaha Bryant, and also Grand Island at Lincoln Southeast, Lincoln East at Bellevue East. Those were 3 very important games because they had a lot to do with giving Kearney some extra points in those weighted standings. North Platte, 1-7 on the year, would take on 2-6 Omaha Bryant. North Platte helping out the Kearney Bearcats. They won last night 35-6. A big help for the Bearcats. Lincoln East coming into the game 2-6. They would be at Bellevue East. Bellevue East 1-7 on the year, hoping for a Lincoln East win. Lincoln East would help out the Bearcats. They would win 13-7 over Bellevue East. And Lincoln Northeast would be taking on Creighton Prep. Creighton Prep needing a huge victory to give the Bearcats some extra points on their season. And Creighton Prep comes up and delivers big, 63-0, as they beat Lincoln Northeast. Going into the game, the Bearcats were ranked number 2, as I said it earlier in the program, ranked number 2 in the wild card standings. They were right behind Omaha North, less than a point as far as those weighted point systems. Going into Thursday night's game, Omaha North 8-0 on the season with 44.37 points. Kearney High 8-0 on the season as well with 43.62 points. And right behind Kearney High, Lincoln High also undefeated with 43.25 points. So Kearney, going into the game on Thursday, they could go as high as number 1. They needed a little bit of help, and they could have fallen as low as 5. So let's take a look at some of the scores from last night. Omaha North taking on Lincoln Pius X, and Omaha North would take their first loss of the season. They lose 28-14 to 5-3, now 6-3, Lincoln Pius. That's good news for the Bearcats. Number 3, Lincoln High. They would take on number 4, Millard West, a 3-4 matchup to end the season. And Millard West would hand Lincoln High their first loss of the season. 28-17, Millard West beats Lincoln High. That means Millard West, number 4, would move up in the standings. And also lurking around is number 5, Omaha Burke. They would take on number 7, Bellevue West. Both of those teams 7-1. Omaha Burke would lose to Bellevue West in a heartbreaker, 35-28. What does that mean for your Kearney High Bearcats? Well, it means that they're the only undefeated team in Class A football this year to finish off the regular season. That's fantastic news. But undefeated doesn't mean everything. You have that weighted point system. As of 5:56 this morning, according to NSAAhome.org, Kearney High is the number 1 team in Class A football this year with 44.6 points in their weighted standings. Omaha North, number 2. They jumped up a couple slots. They had 43.778. Millard West, number 3, 43.778. Last night, Dave Jenner, late night on Twitter, putting together an unofficial bracket. We won't hear what the official matchups are until later this morning, but it looks like the Kearney High Bearcats are going to start off the playoffs at home, taking on number 16 Norfolk. Now, AD Mitch Sine already put out the notice yesterday. That game going to be played at Ron and Carroll Cope Stadium Friday night with a 7 o'clock kickoff. That's going to wrap it up for the KGFW Rewind. Good news, one more time, the Bearcats took the victory over the Omaha Benson Bunnies 56-7. And with that victory, they get bumped up to the number 1 seed in Class A football this year as the only undefeated team in Class A football. The last time they went undefeated, all the way back in 2007. It's been 10 years for the Bearcats to do it again, but they did it in impressive fashion. We will see you Friday as we take on, hopefully, number 16 Norfolk. Like I said, we'll have the official standings when they come out later this morning. I'm Kyle LaBoria. You've been listening to the KGFW Rewind. Up next, Radio Real Estate on KGFW, home for the Bearcats. Home for the Bearcats.